All right, so you are ready to become an investor. Uh, Now, everybody knows that when you're trying to do business, when you're trying to make money, the key thing is to buy something low and sell it high. Warren Buffett said very famously, uh, be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. Sounds simple, right? But what actually happens? What actually happens is you hear about something that your friends have invested in and it's gone up, right? And it's been going up the past like week. And so what happens is you take a bunch of money and you decide, oh, okay, well, I want to get in on this, and you put money in. It goes up a little bit and then it starts to fall, right? And it falls very quickly, it falls past where you bought it at. So now you're losing money and it's continuing to go down. So then what? You start freaking out, and once once it's fallen past a point where you're comfortable, you decide, okay, I'm cutting my losses, I'm selling. So what have you done? You have bought high and sold low, the opposite of what everybody knows you should do. How have you been feeling? You were greedy when others were greedy, and you're fearful when others are fearful. The opposite of what Warren Buffett says to do. So this illustration, what I want to illustrate to you is that what this is talking about, being greedy when others are fearful, being fearful when others are greedy, buying low, selling high. It's pure logic, right? It's not emotional at all. Because when you think about the actual situation, you imagine yourself in that actual situation, or maybe you were in that actual situation in the past. The thing that's hardest to get over is the emotion. The emotion that tells you to follow everybody else and do what everybody else does because everybody else is doing it. That's not good investing. You have to be logical, and you have to do the best you can to remove the emotional aspect, the human aspect out of your investment decisions. So how do you do that? Well, one very common and pretty good strategy, I think, is dollar cost averaging, where you pick an investment, whether that's an ETF or stocks in a dividend paying company, or something of that nature, and you just put X number of dollars into it every period, every month, every quarter, whatever. The shorter the time period, the better. And so you just put money in regularly, no matter what the price is. Okay? So what happens is, if the stock or the ETF goes up, well, what you've already put into it has increased in value, even though with your payment you're buying less of it this month or this week or whatever. If the price goes up, you buy less, but your existing investment has gone up in price. If the share price of the ETF or the stock has gone down, well, then this period you can buy more with the money that you're putting in, even though your existing investment has gone down in price. So by dollar cost averaging, you will never get the biggest, highest return, but you will also reduce your risk by a lot. The key thing is to keep your period of investment as short as possible. One week is better. Every week is better than every month. Every month is better than every quarter. Every quarter is better than every year. Okay, and the reason for that is because of compound interest. Compound interest is extremely powerful when it comes to investing. It's basically exponential growth, right? So let's take a look at this compound interest calculator. What happens is, compound interest means that whatever money you put in, you get interest on it, and then you get interest on top of your interest, and then you get interest on top of your interest on top of your interest, and it just keeps growing like that. So in this scenario, you would be increasing your investment by contributing to it regularly, and you would be getting interest on top of your interest. So this calculator is from the Ontario Securities Commission. You can find similar compound interest calculators all over the place. Now, in this scenario, let's say you start off with $5,000 that you want to put in, and you contribute $100 every month. Okay, and your interest rate is 6%. 6% per year. I'll explain why I use 6% in the following video. But 6%. And interest is compounded quarterly. Okay, so every 3 months, and I'll explain in the next video why I chose quarterly. Say you are 25 years old right now, and you want to retire in 40 years when you're 65. How much money would you have if this is what you started doing right this moment? You invested $5,000 and then put in $100 every month, and that was growing at 6%, and 6% per year, and it gets compounded quarterly. Okay, so this would be the value of your investment, and this is the amount of interest that you got. Okay, which means this blue part here represents your capital, the money that you put in. Okay, and as you can see, it is quite a stack. Now, say you start off with $10,000 and you put in $200 monthly, and I would recommend that you put in as much money as you can, as much money as you can afford on a consistent basis. Okay, so if you did that for 40 years, you'd be well over $500,000. You'd be over $500,000 by some bit. Now, if you do decide to go the dollar cost averaging route, one other piece of advice is that when you actually start doing this, contribute at the beginning of the month, right? So say you get paid on the last day of the month, make your contribution the day after you get paid, so that you are saving and paying yourself essentially first. Okay, because if you made, like, say $3,000 in the month, you buy food, you put gas in your car, you pay your rent, etc., etc. If you decide to save at the end of the month, it is going to be super difficult trying to finish the month with extra money left over that you can save. It is a lot easier to save your money at the beginning of the month and then make do with what's left. Okay, so dollar cost average at the beginning of the month, not at the end. Do it as soon as you get paid and you have a bunch of money that you got from your job or whatever, and contribute that at the beginning of the month, so that you keep up your dollar cost averaging, and you keep paying yourself and saving for your future. So that is very simple. Anybody can do this. You don't need to do a lot of research about the how, right? You'll have to do research on what to invest in, but the how of it is a lot easier. If you just stick with this, you just need to have discipline. That's it. We'll talk about what you can invest in next, because that's also very important. It's actually, the two things go hand in hand. How do you invest and what do you invest in? So we'll talk about what to invest in the next video.